The following is a website called teenink.com, and we are going to today look at an argumentative essay that was posted to teenink.com about school uniforms. And this is an argumentative essay that is against school uniforms. It was written by an 8th grade student, and we're just going to walk through and look at a few of the attributes of this very strong essay. And this is obviously written to convince you that school uniforms should not be used in schools. So one of the main components that we learned in Module 1 that is important to include in an essay that's an argumentative essay is an introduction. So you've probably already read this essay, but I want us to go back and read the introduction together and talk about what this introduction does to really lead the reader into the argument. Joel writes that there is an ongoing discussion in this nation about school uniforms, whether or not they help with behavior problems and increase test scores. So already he's admitted this is an issue, and there are going to be people on both sides of the issue. As an 8th grade student at Delta Middle School, I do not want school uniforms. Here, he is saying that he has a stake in this argument, that he is someone who is a student at a school and will be affected by the outcome of this argument. And he also strongly states his opinion. There's no doubt about whether he wants school uniforms or not. He strictly says, I do not want school uniforms. In this paper, I will present the argument against wearing school uniforms. I will include personal opinion and will also cite research. He states what he's going to tell you pretty outright, and some of us don't wish to say things so blatantly. However, I think it is helpful because now we really know what we're going to be able to expect. So now we're going to move to the end of the essay and look at the conclusion, because the most difficult part of writing an essay is typically the introduction and the conclusion. So we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of our page, and here we have our conclusion. It says, middle school, junior high is a time of maturing physically, mentally, academically, and emotionally. Schools need to create an environment that encourages students' individuality and motivates them to challenge themselves and inspire self-confidence. I feel that school uniforms diminish creativity and self-expression. So here in the conclusion, he comes back around to his strongest points about the individuality of middle school students and how they need to have the safe environment to be able to express themselves, and he restates his opinion. Sometimes we feel that this portion of the essay sounds redundant, but in this paragraph, the author has really driven home his central argument about why school uniforms are not a good thing. Now, the one other thing I want to point out about this strong essay, and again, you can go read this essay on your own and take note of its strengths, is we see a lot of these little dash lines known as quotation marks, and this means that our author is citing research or citing the opinion of other students in his class to get his evidence for this essay. So it's very effective when he makes a statement because now we know that he's not the only one that thinks this way. So it's kind of like getting other people on your team and letting your reader know I'm not the only person who believes school uniforms are a bad thing. He quotes studies, he quotes his classmates, and other experts in the field. Lastly, I want to talk about how he always comes back to why people may disagree with him. It says that one area that might be of concern is the lessening of gang relation problems and fashion wars. A study published in 1995 by Lillian O. Holloman, a clothing and textiles professor at Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University, entitled Violence and Other Antisocial Behaviors in Public Schools, Can Dress Codes Help Solve the Problem? Explores the problem, then goes on to indicate gang colors and insignias, whether worn intentionally or unintentionally, can get a student jumped or worse. So our author is directly addressing something that a lot of readers may be thinking about. Then he says, this may be true in some areas of the country, such as lower income inner city areas, but I do not believe that this is to be true in the Millard County School District. I cannot recall any accounts of violence against students caused by a student's clothing selection. So directly addressing those strong objections and having a reply to them is very important and very effective in this case. So I want you to go back and reread this article on your own and really take into account how the author has effectively stated and supported his argument.